Senator Pratt, I apologize if the lighting's a little dark. I want to thank all of the senators for inviting the Minnesota Chamber to participate in this meeting. We have a lot of anxiety across the business community about the impacts of COVID, so I'm going to read through some comments and would be happy to answer any questions. But first, I just want to say how much the Chamber fully appreciates the serious challenges that Minnesota families and workers, employers, and communities are facing in this public health crisis. And we understand the need for the difficult decisions being made to mitigate and slow the impacts of COVID-19 to protect the health of Minnesota. But as a result of these efforts, many Minnesota businesses have been required to shut their doors or have experienced profound disruption in their business operations and resulting drop in their revenues. And this has had a statewide impact across all businesses of all sizes. Employers are obviously doing everything they can to ensure the health and safety of their employees and customers while trying to maintain the viability of their businesses. And we are very grateful for the loans and grants being made available through the state and federal governments. But the biggest challenge for businesses right now is time. Loan applications can be cumbersome and time-consuming. State and federal employees, we appreciate what they're doing. They are scrambling to be as responsive as possible to businesses, but businesses are shuttered and they're waiting on the sidelines for some help. So for example, the SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loan, they're anticipating a 3 to 4 week waiting period to process applications simply because of demand. You've referenced and Commissioner Grove referenced the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP. It was just passed last week. The guidance was just updated last night. It looks like it's going to be an incredibly important and valuable resource. And given the tremendous industry and demand that we're expecting, we're also expecting delays in getting loans processed. So what employers are looking for is for you to take action now on a short-term basis to prevent further economic hardship and to hasten economic recovery. I want to share with you, we surveyed our members last week and just this past week, and we asked them a couple of questions specific to tax payments, and I'd like to share with you their responses because I think they're very informative. On income taxes, they've said we are currently staying alive on cash reserves. The longer these payments can be delayed to coincide with economic recovery, the better. Another member said we have lost 80% of our revenue, but we have to continue to keep up production to ensure we have product when we reopen. It would help us meet payroll, utilities, and expenses. And another member said on the income tax question, we need time to figure out longer term, like a year, the impacts of COVID-19. Delaying tax payments gives us some more time to figure this out. Not delaying tax payments would require us to make worst case assumptions now. And then when asked about property tax payments, we heard the following. The payment is a considerable amount of cash we would have to pay out, and due to COVID-19, we have not had our normal sales or cash flow. So we would either have to make payroll cuts or other expenses to make this payment possible. Another member said our sales are down 20% in March, and we expect that to keep dropping. Even if our customers pay us on time, we will have less cash to pay people and their benefits. We are trying not to lay off any employees that didn't volunteer already to be laid off. And last comment I wanted to share is I'm a seasonal shop facing a delayed opening. Paying property taxes would significantly pinch my operating funds when I am in the midst of using what I set aside for opening capital with no replenishment. So a couple of specific requests, and I think President Kashkari teed up this conversation beautifully by saying, you know, the more immediate help you can provide to small businesses, first dollar in is better than a loan program on the backside when they might not even be able to access it. So just on taxes specifically, at the state and local level, there are large tax payments that are coming due within the next 42 days. This includes the 2019 and first quarter 2020 income tax payments due on April 15th. And the second big tax payment is the first half of the annual property tax payment due on May 15th. So the first thing that we would like you to consider is conforming with the federal tax extension for the April 15th income tax payments to July 15th. The federal government applied the extension to all taxpayers for both the 2019 April 15th income tax payment and the first quarter 2020 estimated tax payment. In Minnesota, the payment extension was made for individual income taxpayers, but did not include some businesses paying at the entity level. So subchapter S corporations, C corps, partnerships, LLCs. Second, we would ask you to enact a 60-day extension of the May 15th property tax payment for business owners without incurring penalties and interest. We recommend state action on property taxes so there's uniformity across the state versus a county by county approach. Now, counties have the statutory authority to do property tax abatements under current law, and the state has statutory authority to determine payment schedules. These actions would be incredibly helpful for continuity of operations while allowing time for businesses to access federal resources. I just want to be clear, we're not asking for payments not to be made. We're asking for time for businesses to be able to continue to have cash, to pay employees, to pay benefits, to pay operating costs, and then access the federal dollars that Commissioner Grove referenced. In addition, and this would be for longer term considerations when you're back in session, is passage by the end of session for economic recovery, federal conformity with tax items that were passed in the CARES bill. It's a very big bill. There might be some state action needed there. Conformity with Section 179 expensing rules and June accelerated sales tax payment remittance. And we understand there's a lot of unknowns at this time. This is a very dynamic situation, so we may have some additional requests coming forward. The last thing I've been asked to convey to you is the importance of testing. Employers are so concerned about keeping their workforces healthy and safe. And we would just ask as soon as the first responders, the healthcare providers, and employees dealing directly with the public and patients on COVID-19, that we speed availability of testing for workers in critical industries that are so important societally. I know that's a big ask, but it's something that a lot of employers are concerned about, is keeping their workplace healthy and safe so they can keep providing the services that we all rely on. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I just want to convey to you how much we appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about what our members are telling us and your sensitivity to business concerns. We're very grateful for that.